Joining me now is political analyst and owner and president of Klink Campaigns, Matt Klink. Matt, good afternoon.
Hi, Nick.
Matt, let's just jump right in there. What do you make of President Trump's sudden cancellation to send Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner for peace talks?
I think there are two observations here. I think one is that Iran is being Iran, is that they are slippery to say the least when it comes to negotiations, not only with America, but just in general. And two, I think that Donald Trump is right, is he doesn't know if the people that we're meeting with ultimately have the ability to make a decision because the power structure in Iran is in a state of flux right now.
In a state of flux, but Matt, it seems as though there is still a power structure. Talk to us about that, because Matt, it seems as though, even though the top commanders like President Trump has said have been wiped out, there seems to be a struggle with still trying to find a way to figure out who's in charge.
Look, Nick, I agree. The IRGC is really pulling the levers here, and they have their fingers not only into the military, but also into government and into the mullahs themselves. They're the ones that are really driving this, and I think that they will be looking for assurances that their ability to continue to control Iran, should a deal be struck, is paramount for them. So for their deal is all about self-preservation. So whether that deal can be struck and it's one that Trump agrees to, meaning getting rid of their ability to launch or to create nuclear material, ending their ballistic missile threat and cutting down on terrorism, if they can agree to that and still hold power, I think a deal will probably occur.
And Matt, it almost seems as though you're trying to hold water in your hands and it's slipping through, that it's hard to get in control of this. And it's important that we point out that this, like you said, is the IRG and the mullahs and not all Iranians, that there is a clear distinction between it. Matt, former National Security Advisor and U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton, told our Blake Berman on the Hill that the previous round of talks weren't properly handled. Let's take a listen and chat on the other side.
My position is I think it was a mistake to send Vance the first time. I don't think you use the vice president unless you're almost at closure and for some reason the president can't go. To say he's on standby as if somebody thinks that they're on the cusp of a deal, they're nowhere close to a deal.
Why do you believe that?
Because there are too many issues on which they're too far apart. To hold the ceasefire open indefinitely in hopes of solving a piece of the problem with this regime really gives the regime time to get up off its back, to recover, regroup, and get ready for the next phase. I mean, the whole thing is a blessing for Iran, I think, and a mistake for the United States.
Matt, we both know that Ambassador Bolton has no love lost for Iran, and he and the president have often clashed. But is he right on this?
You know, Nick, it's a tough one to call here because John Bolton is certainly, yeah, you're right. He is no friend of Donald Trump. He is certainly not involved in these negotiations. So it's to his advantage to say, well, I would have done it better so that he looks like the smart guy in the room. But he didn't fare any better with the Iranians, frankly, nor has anybody else. So it's easy to cast stones. Donald Trump is in the swirl right now, and either he's going to get the deal cut or he's not. Whether or not it's going well, right now nobody knows. I mean, and that's the frustrating part. Domestic politics want American soldiers out of this conflict. The Democrats have never supported it. So it's really easy to poke holes in what the president is doing, but he's the first one that has actually taken aggressive military action to bring Iran back to the table in a much weaker position.
And Matt, I have less than a minute left, but I've got to switch to gas prices here because they remain above $4 on average amid the Strait of Hormuz blockade, with really no clear timeline on when those prices could fall. What Senate Minority Chuck Leader Schumer said about that this week. Listen.
Now, Americans want one thing now: relief. That's what Americans want right now. Lower gas, lower groceries, lower electric bills, lower costs for housing, lower costs for health care, lower costs for child care. Unfortunately, Republicans seem to have a different priority.
Matt, I'm sorry there. Senator Schumer is not necessarily the most energetic speaker, but what can Republicans do to prove right now that they're still looking out for Americans in their pocketbooks?
the only thing that's going to prove to the American people that the Republicans are doing what they said they were going to do in the 2024 election is to have gas prices actually come down. There are some things that the White House has done, but again, the American voting public, they don't care about the war in Iran from the standpoint of, geopolitical status. They want lower gas prices. They want lower grocery prices. They want lower energy prices. And however the White House needs to make that happen, they need to make it happen before the November elections, or the voters will wreak havoc on the Republican rule in Washington. So they need to get serious about this, and now is the time to do it.
Matt, why is that a surprise every time the election season rolls around? Like, wait a minute, gas prices are a thing? It seems like these elected leaders forget that every time. Matt Klink, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
You too.